What's going on, Marks? I am the other Steve, and welcome back to the House of Kayfabe. I am joined with the man, the myth, the legend, the man who is trying to single-handedly build his house back after the hurricane, Brian Resner, which is why he's not been around a lot. What's happening, Brian?
Doesn't that sound pathetic when the hurricane was like 7 freaking months ago?
I've heard
But
that you're in a full cage match with your insurance companies.
yes, it is quite the bloodletting.
Hammer and nails, Resner. Hammer and nails, Resner.
It's a hard process, but we are slowly getting there here at the castle of Resner. But we're getting there sooner than it has been. Is what I'm being told, and it's the best news I've heard all year.
What needs to happen so you can get back on this damn podcast regularly. And of course, I am
absolutely, but I'm glad to be here right now.
Damn right. And then I am, of course, with the best damn independent announcer on the scene today, Adam Harris. What's happening?
Thanks for inviting me into your room here on the House of Kayfabe.
Into our room. So this video was kind of my idea, and I was watching Monday Night Raw, and Logan Paul comes out. And of course, we're on the not yet to go home, but we're on the road to Money in the Bank. And Logan Paul, of course, jumps the line, gets in.
Your daughter's favorite wrestler,
That's
Logan Paul?
The whole point of this video is this. I think that it has to be Logan Paul. Now, let me set it up, and I'm going to give it to you all. I have been an educator for 20 plus years. I taught high school for 13 years. And I can tell you that 10 to 15 years ago, I saw John Cena shirts and I saw Randy Orton shirts every day in my high school halls. I have not seen a wrestling t-shirt except for one in the last 6 months. And it was a kid who had a Jake the Snake Roberts shirt on. When I asked him who's his favorite wrestler now, he says, I don't watch today's wrestling. I watch the network with my dad and watch the stuff that he likes. I think that wrestling fans are dying. I think that, if you go by the ratings, everything's slipping. There are no new fans happening. Now, we're going to talk about some of the competitors in the Money in the Bank, and I think we all will probably agree on who will probably win. But I think Logan Paul is single-handedly bringing the younger fans in, and I have anecdotal evidence, and I know that this shit has to play out. I have a 12-year-old daughter who is obsessed with Logan Paul. When she went with her mom to buy me a Father's Day present, she specifically did not buy me a Seth Rollins doll figure because she hates Seth Rollins because he beat Logan. She hates Roman Reigns because he beat Logan. So she's learning wrestling. Logan Paul is bringing new fans to this business. And of course, LA Knight should and is going to win. But Brian Resner, can you see why I'm saying if you were Triple H and you're looking around at your locker room and you're looking for someone who's going to make new fans, not make us happy, you can shit on our face and we'll still like it in wrestling. But could you see Triple H saying that's a man that's bringing new eyes on my product? As a former promoter, Brian, go ahead.
I can totally see what you're saying, of course. I can totally see that you are saying that Logan Paul is going to bring eyes to this sport that have not ever considered putting their eyes on this sport. The question I have, because I have the same kind of anecdotal evidence, I have a 12-year-old son, and my 12-year-old son watches no wrestling at all. None. Will not sit and watch it no matter what's going on. But he stops and he watches when Logan Paul is on because he's already been all about Logan Paul. So he has a fanship with Logan Paul. However, are these good weather fans? Are these fans that are going to be there when Logan Paul's there? Are they going to stick around when Logan Paul's not? Because our time with Logan Paul is limited. Mm-hmm. We are not going to have Logan Paul doing this for a long period of time. It's just not in the cards. Now, do I think he's good? Yes. Do I think he's popular? Yes. Do I think he brings new eyes to the product? Absolutely. But do I think I need to throw away the year-long briefcase gimmick, the upward the upward that you see from someone winning the Money in the Bank, do I throw that away for someone who could just overnight decide he doesn't want to do it anymore and never show up again? I don't think I can. Logan Paul has a lot of opportunity out there. There's all types of things he could be doing. He's doing this because he wants to. Well, what happens when he doesn't want to? What happens if he wins the Money in the Bank and decides he doesn't want to before he even cashes the Money in the Bank in? He doesn't have the same type of love for professional wrestling like a professional wrestler would have for professional wrestling. I just don't feel like, A, you can't take that chance on Logan Paul. B, you can't miss that opportunity with LA Knight. And C, I think the backlash, that even the silent backlash that you would get from a WWE locker room for that decision would have a lot of unintended consequences.
I didn't think about that.
And then also beside of those three, you totally have the opportunity to do something amazing with Logan Paul at Money in the Bank that has nothing to do with him winning the Money in the Bank briefcase.
I think that's actually a foregone conclusion that he will definitely do something fantastic that we marks the next day will be like, he shouldn't be doing that and I shouldn't be liking him. Adam,
I'm not necessarily talking about a wild spot though. I'm saying I would be on the hunt for someone not from the WWE to cost Logan the Money in the Bank. So I can set up another match between two people that will bring eyes to my product. And it's really sad that the perfect person to choose for that type of angle is actually locked in his house in Romania.
I fucking knew you were going to say Andrew Tate.
If WWE could get a hold of Andrew Tate and Andrew Tate could cost Logan Paul the Money in the Bank briefcase, then you could promote Andrew Tate versus Logan Paul and sell out any arena in the country with the top G. Guaranteed.
This podcast has went off the rails within the first 5 to 6 minutes.
Yeah, we haven't even been 5 minutes.
Because Wrestler's one of my best friends, I knew he was going to say Andrew Tate. That's probably for another podcast. Adam Harris.
I'm just saying he really is the perfect pick because that's the one that Logan Paul has had a lot of beef with online. He's got beef with Jake Paul too. And I mean, it would be perfect and you wouldn't have to put any wrestler down or give away something big like the Money in the Bank to him to do it and get all types of eyes on the product at that point. It'd be the biggest thing in the world.
They would call it the Enter the Matrix match. Adam Harris, what do you think about Logan Paul having, a 6 month, 8 month run?
I love it.
Where he just jumps in with his briefcase. He fucks somebody. And look, it's built in him and Seth, right? Seth was one of the guys that beat him. Yep. And what you were saying, Brian, was about, I want to hear what you think about this, Adam. You were talking about these are fair weather fans. Well, here's the key. You get the eyes on them, and the rest of these motherfuckers need to step up and make these fair weather fans become real fans. Adam, that's possible, right?
I hope so. I have to hope so. And if not, this whole Logan Paul experiment is not worth the time that it's been invested to it. But I like Resner's idea that somebody else could cost Logan, and that would set up a good storyline. I agree that could happen, whether that's a YouTube star or somebody else for the next, what was it? Clash of the Content Creators or whatever, where John Morrison fought the eating champion or something, whatever that was.
That's exactly what happened.
So it could end up something like that. But first of all, I think that I'm not the demographic that Logan Paul is bringing, but I love Logan Paul and I love what he's bringing to WWE. So what is it going to take to keep that 12, 13, 15-year-old kid watching? I think it's putting Money in the Bank in his possession. And so he has this immediate draw that is always being teased. Every time he shows up on television, is he going to cash in? Who's he going to challenge? Which belt is he going to challenge for? All of a sudden, all the belts become relevant because which one is Logan going to challenge for. All of a sudden, that's becoming what everybody's worried about. And he's the kind of guy that can stay off TV long enough that we kind of forget he even has money in the bank. He's going to go off and do other things. He's going to be opening boxes of Pokemon cards with the guy from Golden Auctions. He's going to be doing whatever else it is that millions of people subscribe to his channel for. And then all of a sudden it'll come back and be like, oh, wait, don't ever forget that Logan Paul has the money in the bank opportunity. He could cash in at any time. I feel like there's at least a year-long story to be told there. And as long as they do it right, little tastes here and there, drop Logan Paul in like they're doing anyway, but it doesn't have to be a match every time. It's just he's going to appear. Or is he going to be in the house when the title is defended? When, so-and-so is putting the belt on the line? Then it becomes a lot more interesting every time that Logan Paul's on television, which is what they've done each time. Every time it's interesting, they're just going to keep it more interesting as the year goes on. I don't remember
Adam,
if I answered your question or not.
Oh, dude, you did. And Brian, I actually want to bring this up because I think you'll agree with me on here on this. Billy Corgan and the NWA that keeps puttering along. He put the belt on Tyrus for no other reason than Tyrus 2 to 3 times a week. He is on Red Eye on Fox News with the 10 pounds of gold. Now that's not a well.
And isn't he on the Gutfield show?
That's what I said. Oh no, Red Eye's Gutfield's old one, but Gutfield, right? And that's maybe the highest charting show on Fox, but it's not the wrestling crowd. Here's the thing, like Adam said, Logan Paul can take that money in the bank on all these podcasts that he does. And I don't agree with you that he's not that big of a wrestling fan. If you kind of know anything about him, he and his brother, they grew up big time marks. That's why he's doing this. I think that you could see him. No.
I know that, but what I'm saying is he's not a wrestler. I didn't say nothing about him not being a wrestling fan. He's a multi-millionaire who doesn't have to be here.
I mean, so is Roman Reigns. He doesn't have to be there.
I guess that's true, but he's a wrestler.
True, but hold on now.
He's a wrestler deep down.
Let me get you there. We will see Logan Paul for the next 6 to 9 to 12 months, possibly, with that Money in the Bank briefcase on tons of different platforms. You're a branding guy. It's what you do in your real life. You can't buy that kind of reach. What do you think?
No, I totally get that. And when Adam was talking, he actually talked me into it, out of it, into it, and out of it again before he was done talking. But it's, I see the gold there. Yes, I see what you're talking about, and I see how it would be on multiple platforms. But would at the cost of what? At the cost of taking away from the Money in the Bank.
No.
It's Money in the Bank
adds to it.
This is not the 24/7 title.
No, but
and
if LA Knight has it, it's not as special.
Night.
He can get over without it. That's what I think. I think he gets over without it.
Yeah, go ahead, Adam. Go ahead, Adam.
He gets over without it. It's not something he needs. Do I wish he has it? Yes. Do I wish he would get a chance at the championship? Yes. Does it elevate the other championships in the same way that Logan Paul does? No. All of a sudden, like I said, it elevates all the other titles. LA Knight is going to be a character. He's not going to get over in the same. He'll get himself over in a different way than what Logan Paul will with the belt, with the briefcase. I mean.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question for you. When Triple H comes out and makes sure that it is 100% known that this time whoever gets that contract can challenge for any belt that they want to. That's one of those hidden things where it's like, oh, that's a big announcement. Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. Does that mean we're guaranteed that it's not going to be for the world title this time? Because he's never said that before. We've never once heard anybody going to cash the Money in the Bank in for anything but the world title. But we mentioned it specifically this time that you can challenge for any belt.
But sounds
like it's not for the world title this time around.
Austin Theory cashed in for the U.S. belt, though, right?
I think so.
I think he did.
So, so maybe that's the precedent that's been set.
Maybe that's why Triple H said it.
Maybe that's why he said it. Maybe that's why. And believe me, that's not a bad idea. I do like, what if he challenges for the Intercontinental title or whatever. But I still agree that whatever belt it is, it gets elevated by the idea that Logan Paul might challenge for it.
Well, I feel like LA
NXT
Knight.
title.
You say LA Knight doesn't need this. I don't know that he necessarily needs it, but I do know that he's 4 years old, and I do know that this guy is incredible, and he should have been discovered many years ago. Actually, he should have done about a month and a half in Impact, and then been signed to the WWE and swept away to greatness. Because I mean, I really feel like LA Knight has qualities that we haven't seen since The Rock and Austin.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that he's on a level with Rock and Austin at all. Don't think that I'm trying to oversell LA Knight. But anybody who didn't watch LA Knight and Impact has no idea what I'm talking about. Eli Drake was incredible. Like, it was an incredible
NWA
character.
for that matter.
I was going to say, when he was in NWA, that's when I really watched a lot of him, because that's back when the God Emperor was still announcing. I kind of quit watching after they got rid of him, and he was I know that what's our guy that was the champ at the time? Our guy,
Nick Aldis.
Yeah, Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis was, of course, their star that they were focusing on. But for me, as an old school wrestling fan, it was Eli Drake. Like, okay, that's fine. Nick Aldis, he comes out. He's trying to bring back prestige and respect to the title. Give me fucking Eli Drake and cut this great promo. And Adam, that's probably what blows up my argument. But I think that you may disagree.
But
I think it's going to be LA Knight. I think it's going to be LA Knight. I think it has to be LA Knight, because LA Knight, despite getting buried in a Bray Wyatt glow in the dark hoop
Mountain
Dew match, he has gotten himself over more than anybody else on the roster. Now, Adam, do you think
WrestleMania Cosmic Bowling match?
Do you think that LA Knight doesn't need the Money in the Bank?
No, I don't. I think he's going to be over. I think he can challenge for whichever champion you choose him to cut a promo on. I feel like as soon as he comes, it doesn't matter how many times he loses. We've proven that he can come out and get heat back every single time. And I just want to say, this is the last point I want to get across, is that I think we're relying on Logan Paul, as you were saying, Steve. Like, are there any casual fans? Are we trying to bring in fans? Are we going to develop new fans? The only way we can do it is with Logan Paul and with like Collision with CM Punk. Okay. But the only way we do it is we bring them in with Logan Paul and we bring them in with CM Punk, but they have to see something else that's going to get them to tune in the next time. So what else on Collision? Was it Miro? Was it Andrade? Was it the women's tag match? What else did they see while they were waiting on CM Punk to come out? And then
it's a hard comparison.
Same with Logan Paul. No, same with Logan Paul. When they tune in to see the Money in the Bank ladder match, is he going to be just one spot and gone? Or are they going to tune in and say, wow, I liked that Ricochet guy. I liked something else that somebody else did. And they are going to keep watching, even though Logan Paul may not be on next week. If he wins or doesn't win, he's not going to be on next week. But Steve is hoping that his daughter is going to tune in on Monday because she liked somebody that she saw at Money in the Bank. What is that person going to do? I saw somebody else on Collision, Miro. Wow, I think I would like to follow that guy.
Okay, I have to respond here, because what you're saying is completely two different worlds. On one side, you've got CM Punk. Now, if you're a CM Punk fan and you're watching Collision, then you're going to see CM Punk, but then you're going to see Daniel Bryan. And then you're going to see John Moxley. And then you're going to see, even a Kenny Omega or someone like that. You're going to see things that you're going to like. Even a CM Punk fan is going to like a Chris Jericho. There's all type of givens that if someone is watching for CM Punk, they're going to see tons of other stuff they like, and there's no doubt about it. What on the other side, you're talking about Logan Paul. I'm telling you what, boxing thought Logan Paul was going to save it too. But when Logan Paul's not there, no one's paying attention. These fans love Logan Paul, and they will love the WWE if he's in the WWE. They will also love McDonald's if he's on their commercials. They will drink Prime Energy drink by the leader if Logan Paul's drinking it. But if Logan Paul decides that he's going to drink Celsius, then everyone's going to drink Celsius. Celsius is a way healthier option if you're trying to get energy drinks, just let you know. But whatever Logan Paul does, they're going to do. And when he doesn't do it, they're not going to do it. And I don't think you're going to make fans that way. You might have some eyes on your product for the time being, but when Logan Paul decides he's leaving, they're going to leave too because they're Logan Paul fans. CM Punk fans can become FTR fans. CM Punk fans can become Daniel Bryan fans, Claudio Castagnoli fans. CM Punk fans can turn into a lot of different fans.
Brian, I think you've become too cynical, sir. I think you've forgotten where your roots are in wrestling. I think that you are underestimating. I want you to jump in on Adam because I know you know where I'm going. You're underestimating the power of good fucking wrestling. And I think that if a kid is just watching and they see Ricochet do some cool shit, they're going to be like, wow, they see Roman Reigns. Look, these kids respect alpha shit, right? Dude, Roman Reigns is the big dog. You are underestimating the power of good wrestling to make fans. Because look, we were all, and I know we all can't remember that time anymore, not wrestling fans. And we stumbled upon this weird artifact of American culture. And look at us. I'm 46. Brian's 40-ish. Adam's 40. Adam's because he's going for mayor one day. He doesn't want to know how old he is. And we all became fans. And I didn't know anything about wrestling before I watched it. Adam, tell them about the power of what good wrestling and storytelling can do.
And I think we're saying the same thing in a couple different ways. But I mean, it's it's that thing. It's like we have to bring them in. And it's kind of like I started watching because A, but I kept watching because of B. And C. We can get them in, whether it's Logan Paul, whether it's Access TV, whether it's New Japan, however we get them in, we need to give them something that's going to keep them coming back. Or I've seen that once. Oh, I've never seen. I've seen that before. And I feel like when you say, oh yeah, they're going to like Daniel Bryan or they're like Claudio Castagnoli, yeah, of course they will if they already like CM Punk. But if they like Logan Paul, they haven't seen Daniel Bryan necessarily. They haven't seen Claudio Castagnoli necessarily. They haven't seen Lucha Underground, but they don't know who Ricochet is. We keep going back to that, but I can see that kind of capturing somebody's imagination, right?
I got it. They cared about Ricochet for that split second in the air when he collided with Logan Paul. And that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
And also I'd like to say to what you're saying that Logan Paul will get them there and captivating storytelling will keep them there.
Yeah,
and I would agree.
Hopefully.
And I would agree with that. I would agree with that 100%. If Logan Paul brings the eyes, the story is captivating, they're fans for life. What a beautiful world. That's not what we're dealing with, though. Logan Paul's going to bring a bunch of eyes to the WWE product, and WWE will screw the pooch like they always do, and Damian Priest will walk out with the motherfucker.
Man, did you just doubt your boy Triple H? Do you not think that Triple H is going to do the right thing on the booking?
I do not believe that Triple H is in control anymore.
Oh, that's a whole other video right there.
It is a whole other video, but I'm telling you what, if Triple H is in control, man, buddy, you came out the gate strong and hit right into the wall. Because it's not the only thing that is going right is Roman Reigns
and Seth.
Seth
is
and here's the other
second
thing.
over.
Here's
Adam,
the other thing is that Roman.
Listen, Seth is over because of Seth.
Yeah,
Seth is not over because of his stellar booking. I mean, yes, he's the champ, and I'm sure. Yeah, that's
he's
great.
the champ.
He's over because of the song.
Ouch.
I was going to say, let's not forget
he is.
One of Logan's previous opponents was Roman Reigns, and he had a world title match. How else is he going to get another one than by having Money in the Bank? He doesn't deserve it. He hasn't had any matches. He hasn't worked his way to the top. He got that one in there for Saudi Arabia. Now
do we have to David Arquette this motherfucker to make
No, it's different. That's different. David Arquette's not an athlete.
No,
this guy's an athlete.
We don't have to. Well, I get it. It is way different. And that maybe David Arquette was a stretch. But we do not need to put the world title on Logan Paul. We don't need to put the Intercontinental title on Logan Paul.
We're talking about Money in the Bank.
Yeah, we're just talking about Money in the Bank.
But Money in the Bank leads to titles in most cases. Damien Sandow, Cena.
But if anybody can make it as important as possible without winning, I believe it's Logan Paul. I'm sticking to it. I think it could be Logan Paul.
Well, you know, whenever you were talking and you were saying, you know, these kids that are watching for Logan Paul would be watching more, not knowing in any second Logan Paul could cash in the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Now, that is a positive. And the fact that people give a shit about Logan Paul is definitely a positive. But man, you got LA Knight on fire right now. And I'm just so afraid they're coming with a big bucket of toilet water to put him out. And that's what I'm afraid of. And I don't want to see that happen to him because he's 40 years old. He needs to be a champion soon. I mean, if you want to get something out of this man, you need to get something out of him soon.
Right now. Yeah, right.
Dude, you're right. But dude, they brought AJ in at that same time and he's had multiple runs. I think LA Knight's the next big thing. I don't think that they thought that he was going to be. I think that he is organically getting himself over.
You can slow burn. You can slow burn AJ Styles. You can slow burn AJ Styles because AJ Styles has already been the ROH champion. He's already been the NWA champion. He's already been the Impact champion. He's already been the IWGP champion. He fathered the X division. People know who AJ Styles is. When AJ Styles' music hit and you seen Phenomenal come on the screen at that Royal Rumble, that place went insane. And they had never seen AJ before. So at that point, it's a different world. Eli Drake may have won the Impact Championship. Impact was not as prominent when Eli Drake won the championship. And just, like you said, you've never even seen him in Impact. Your whole vision of Eli Drake comes from the NWA, which is literally the lesser part of his big run. In Impact, when he was the champion, that whole run was great. People who seen that seen in Eli Drake what I'm talking about when I say he has remnants of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He has remnants of The Rock. He is a next level talent. He's an amazing talent that has never been properly utilized. And the time that he was properly utilized, it was at a time when there was maybe, I think it was me and maybe Derek Jones watching, and that was it. So they did it for just us. I think at the time I had just moved to Florida and I was staying with a friend of mine. So he was watching too. So that makes three of us.
Okay, there's three
watching this. And that's when we've seen the greatest parts of Eli Drake. So Eli Drake has been this amazing for a very long time. He just hasn't been in front of anyone. I mean, even when he went to the NWA and he's impressing you, you only watched because Jim Cornette was on there. And 90% of wrestling fans were not even paying attention to some YouTube show. I love the concept that the NWA exists. I have not watched the show once since Tyrus has been champion. Yeah. And I love that belt. And I love the idea that NWA exists. And I don't take time out of my day to go and find. I don't even know where the hell it plays.
Well, as long as you're not watching on Fox News just to see the title, then we're okay.
I'll tell you what. It's
easier to find.
I have watched him more on Gutfield than I have watched him in the NWA. And that is sad because I would be an NWA fan. I know it. It could be terrible and I'd still love it. And I still don't watch it. So the point is,
get Shane Douglas
Eli
back
Drake,
to throw the belt down again.
Right. We do. Eli Drake, and now LA Knight. LA Knight needs to be in front of eyes. And right now he's in front of eyes and you see what he's accomplishing. Just with the little bit, like you said, he hasn't even been booked that strong. He's losing in Mountain Dew matches to Bray Wyatt. And he still is able to captivate an audience and get them to say his catchphrases and follow on the tip of every word he says. This guy is money. You don't have time to waste it on a YouTuber right now. Put him in bring Mayweather out to punch him and make him lose the Money in the Bank. Whatever it takes. Of course, Andrew Tate would be the best thing. Oh my God. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
So before we wrap this up, and I would predict that if my 12-year-old actually becomes a wrestling fan, her first wrestling hero is going to be Logan Paul. Before I wrap it up, let's go down memory lane. Give me a short answer. Brian Ressner, who was your first Logan Paul?
Who was my first Logan Paul?
The person who got you into wrestling, the person that made your eyes go to the wrestling screen. Who was your first wrestling star?
To be perfectly honest with you, the very first time I ever watched wrestling was the night, and I this is crazy that I remember this, but it was the Monday night before kindergarten started, and it was prime time, WWE prime time on USA, where Raw is now, and it was Bret the Hitman Hart versus Bad News Brown.
And so it was Bad News Brown?
And I know it was Bret the Hitman Hart.
Fell in love with the work rate.
Already?
It was Bret Hart and Bad News Brown. I seen it, and I can remember vividly my mother telling me I needed to go to bed because I had kindergarten the next day, and I couldn't take my eyes off of two men beating the hell out of each other in the WWE ring. And from then on out, I would go and find the newspaper every Sunday when they would print all of the TV shows that came on every single channel, and I would take a highlighter and light every single wrestling show that was on, and I would set my alarm clock for 10 minutes before so I could always watch every piece of wrestling that ever came on. And that's the beginning. It all started with Bret Hart and Bad News Brown.
Adam, because you're my friend of 20 years, I want to take a shot at it. I think that your first, person that you fell in love with in the wrestling business, I'm going to say Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Well, I mean, you asked two different questions. I mean, what got me into it and who?
That one person with. Yes.
I mean, I definitely love the Dragon for sure, man. But I mean, the first time I watched wrestling, I was just flipping through the channels, and Jake the Snake Roberts was tied up in the ropes, and Earthquake was about to squash Damien.
1991.
Yeah.
1991. It was like springish, maybe fall of 1991. And I mean, how could you not be captivated by that, man? And so I have to say, in that case, it must have been Jake. I mean, that
Great
was
answer.
all his idea. It just burned into my mind, and I was like Resner though, man. When the Sunday paper came and they had the week's worth of programming or whatever it was, and you looked for. I looked for WWF and I looked for WCW, man, and you would highlight that stuff, and you lived your life.
A WWF, WCW, and American Gladiators.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to see, man. That's what I wanted to see.
And for all those kids out there, newspapers were these things that they used to deliver to your house. The ones that got me into it, and we're going to get out of here. I was an Atlanta Braves fan as a kid, and I watched Atlanta Braves games every fucking day, and I just happened to keep watching, and these two wild-haired rock and rollers with bandanas all over their body came bopping out in this little studio, grimy kind of studio setting, and the Rock and Roll Express came out, and they dogged out two jobbers and one with the double drop kick, and then Ricky Morton came and cut a promo, and I was like, what is this? And it's been downhill ever since. And to go back to the beginning, Rock and Roll Express was my daughter's Logan Paul. But then I met Ric Flair, and then I met the Road Warriors, and then I met Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, and later on I met the New Breed. And I think that is why I posited to this. Thank you all for watching.
Wait, I've got to throw one more beginning story in there, because that was my introduction to the WWE. And I'm watching the WWE at that point, and I'm seeing a lot of different stuff for a couple of years. And then one day my cousin comes over, and I've got a WWE coloring book. And I'm coloring Hulk Hogan in my coloring book. And he says, "You watch WWF?" I was like, "Of course I watch WWF." And he was like, "Not me. I watch WCW." I said, "What is that? What's WCW?" And he told me when to watch it. And I went and found WCW. And the very first match I got to see on my WCW adventure was Stunning Steve Austin versus Barry Windham for the World Television Championship in a best 2 out of 3 falls match.
Wow.
And I was hooked from there on out. I even went to Blockbuster to get all the stuff from the 89 and 90.
Starcade.
Yeah, Lex Luger winning the championship. That was the greatest thing Lex Luger ever did, was the 1990s world title run.
His peak.
It was amazing. Anyway, sorry to keep you a little longer with another story, but
I mean, dude, that's what we're here for, and that's what you get when you tune into the House of Kayfabe. So if you all dug all that, please give us a like, a comment, and share. Actually, tell us in the comments what you think. Am I a complete fucking moron or Brian right? And of course, Adam is always right. We will see you all next time.
LA Knight.
Wait, which